All right, welcome everybody to Fibbr and Cry's cryptocurrency show for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2014. Hopefully on your screen right now you can see just a nice little intro. I am Brian Beamish, the Canadian Rational Investor. I am working with Andre, better known as Fibbr, on TradingView. It's our great pleasure to come out to everybody on internet land and have our cryptocurrency show for Wednesday, September 2nd. April 2nd. As you can see on the intro one-pager here, it should be in the documents. Everybody should get it. This is going to be a 2-hour show tonight. We'll probably end a little bit early. We have a bit of time for question and answer. Topics covered today, everything crypto. So if we have any questions crypto related, this is the time and the place to talk about it. The schedule today, we're going to start off with about a few minutes of meet and greet. I would personally like to talk a little bit about the fundamental drivers that are happening in the marketplace right now. What's happening in the news? Obviously, China is a significant driver at the moment. Maybe talk a little bit about how the San Francisco conference was basically our last selling window and the developments since then. And maybe also talk a little bit about the recent IRS rulings and how they might affect the cryptocurrency world going forward. At about 5:30 Pacific time, which is about a half an hour, about 20-25 minutes, I will do a short 30-minute presentation on BTC-E. I'm a very small fish in this pond, so as a result, I am trading off of the BTC-E exchange. I suppose if I grow up at some point, I'll move to the other ones, so I specifically chart and comment on the BTC-E. At about 6 o'clock-ish, we're going to flip coin and move over to our professional crypto trader, Fibbr, who is very active on BTC Stamp, he's going to give us a nice little summary of his thoughts. That should take us to about 6:30-ish, at which time we should have about a half an hour left over for question and answer. So at this point right now, I'm going to open up the room, and I'd love to hear a nice hello from everybody. Let's turn people's microphones on. There's Andre, and another Andre, and a Chris, and Landon, our low pro from Saturday Sessions. McSheesh is here in the room with us today. We have Robert and we have Sebastian. So if you'd like to, feel free to say hello, everybody. We are streaming live on YouTube, basically the world's our oyster for the next next couple hours. Feel free to say hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello, Fibbr.
Hey.
Hello, that must be Andre.
That's Adam.
Oh, Adam, I beg your pardon.
Woot woot. Woo! Okay. Sebastian, I haven't heard you speak yet. Have you got a mic working?
Okay, and I have now posted the YouTube link, so you can see that this show is streaming as we speak.
I'm going to tweet it.
It was tweeted from my website. You can retweet it to your heart's content. If you go to my website, the Canadian Rational Investor, therationalinvestor.ca, I have a posting of all activities that I do, and as you can see, the latest post was the YouTube link feed. All right, so first and foremost, let's maybe just take a few minutes and talk a little bit about our feelings about how cryptocurrency land has been going for us. I myself, and by all means, we can do this as a roundtable. Fibbr and I can just talk. It's entirely up to you. I'll be honest. My latest feelings of what I see here, and I can pull up the daily. Well, maybe the 4-hour chart might be a little more relevant. I do see that the trading view charts have come back here a bit, so I'm pleased with that. Do we have any messages? No? Okay, well, looks like we're okay. This is 15-minute, as you can see on the BTC-E. Here's the 4-hour. Hopefully, regular viewers will recognize my charts. Basically, I publish them fairly regularly. And we have to keep in mind that TradingView is having a bit of a problem with their charts this evening. So, if specific data points don't come in, we're just going to have to deal with it. So my general feeling was we had the San Francisco conference happen back here. They rallied the market into that event. And then, unfortunately, all hell has broken loose since then. We've just been cascading our way lower. People have asked me, what have I been thinking about these cryptocurrencies? And it feels to me, honestly, like we had a little bit of a buy on the rumor, sell on the news event with that recent San Francisco conference. I've seen that happen a couple times now on the Bitcoin. Specifically, the Miami conference set up the last rally peak, and then we melted down after that. So I believe that that's basically playing itself out now. Unfortunately, we're getting a little bit of, I don't know whether you call it manipulation or whether you call it posturing by international entities. But after months and months and months of us talking about how each of these coins was going to be listed in China, now the Chinese were going to get involved. All of a sudden, recently, the People's Bank of China, the BOC, I think is what they like to be referred to as, basically came out with a writ that has banned all participation by Chinese in the Bitcoin markets. I believe that Catalyst event, they're supposed to all be gone by the 14th of April. I am watching this area in particular on the charts. I find it fascinating that in essence all they're doing is they're just driving the price of these coins back down to where the institutions actually want to buy them. You've probably heard me talk at length about how institutions do not buy up markets. They buy down markets, and as you can see, we had one heck of a up market through the fall, and it's my feeling that institutions probably looked at that rally and said, we want to get involved, but we're certainly not going to buy at 1,000. So in essence, the market has slowly worked its way down, and we're just now getting into what I refer to as the optimal trade zone. So I find that fascinating, given the severe negative news that's hitting the market of late, and it feels to me like the big players are just trying to squeeze the public out so that they can actually buy up all of these coins that the public either got in their stocking for Christmas, or the Chinese, they're notorious gamblers. They love to gamble. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of hot money went into that. And in essence, them having to sell, to me, seems a little bit coincidental, given the fact that we're just now coming back into realistic valuations. So having said that, that's my sort of general view of what the backdrop, the fundamental backdrop is on the Bitcoin at the moment. Andre, why don't you take a few minutes and just tell me what you think the fundamental backdrop is and what the recent news is and how that's been affecting trade.
Well, I just think China looks just more and more ugly every second. I mean, if you can see my screen at the moment, I drew on these little trend lines of, where it's been kind of, triangulating, let's call it, and somebody just dumped, somebody's tried to hold it in, and I mean, these triangles, they break all the time, don't they? And people do like to react to them. And I noticed there was a little follow-up sell-off on Stamp. I mean, I've put an asking myself on Stamp, but I mean, the spread's been really good on Stamp, to be honest. If I can offload 443 on Stamp right now, I'll be happy to get back in kind of this kind of 433. Play that as a $10 range. So, but
we'll get to the charts in a bit, and I guess maybe I cheated a little bit pulling up that daily chart. I guess what I'm looking for, just to start off with, kind of like our little one-pager set, is maybe talk just a little bit about what the fundamentals are going on in the marketplace right now, just so people can get an idea of what the backdrop is. And tell me how you feel about those fundamentals.
Well, the fundamental is obviously that China's just sent out a letter to a couple of exchanges saying we might restrict it. We're going to make it difficult for you and stuff like this. And some of those exchanges haven't been fully prepared. They were using third-party payment process, which others had already circumvented. And people, it's a good excuse to have a bit of a panic sell-off and make some more coin. I mean, to me, to be honest, China hates Bitcoin. There is no way on this earth China is ever going to like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is everything that China doesn't like. Bitcoin represents financial freedom and the free flow of, the unrestricted free flow of capital. China hates that,
Well,
China's all about control.
Keep in mind that there are a number of different factions within. I mean, China itself has about a fifth of the world's population. So at any given point in time, there are different factions. I would wholly agree with you. The totalitarian dictatorship under the guise of communism, and those people in particular absolutely hate the concept of free flow of capital, free flow of thoughts and ideas. I wholly agree with you there. But let's not put the whole country into one basket.
Oh yeah, but because China's so controlling on their flow of capital outside of the Chinese economy, because the Chinese people, you've got to understand the Chinese culture and what they are, and the Chinese are all about for China, isn't it? It's for China. And if they see the reason why the establishment don't like money leaving China is because they see that as being un-Chiniotic, whatever you want to call it, and they want to keep the money in China for China, and they want China to do well. You know what I mean? And if Bitcoin allows money to just freely flow outside the borders, that's obviously something they've been trying to stop for a long time. And they're not going to allow that to continue. You know what I mean? That's why they're clamping down on it.
I agree. Landon, you posted a really interesting article there. Would you like to hop in here and just give us your thoughts? Did you read that article, and what were the feelings that you got from it?
Well, what article? What are you talking about?
I see that you put. That's you, Landon Walsh, right? You posted that Reddit. Was that a Reddit link?
Yeah. I was just advertising this.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It is an interesting article and video and YouTube live link.
Okay.
But I just put a link there. You can check that out. Just what I submitted. I submitted all the China news. If anybody wants to check that out.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah, I'm just enamored in price action.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anybody else in the? Because keep in mind we're being viewed by YouTube, so there's lots of people out in the world watching this. Is there anybody else in our moderated group here that has any thoughts about the current fundamental backdrop of what's going on here?
Well, I don't think it's really it's not a ban across the board though. I mean, let's make that clear though. As of yet, like they've just limited like how they deposit money. They haven't completely cut it off at this point. So
So now that's an interesting observation. Thank you, Adam. So from what your perspective is that maybe they see such a mass flow into this thing that they kind of want to try and put the brakes on it a little bit. Is that what you're thinking?
I haven't really speculated as to what their motivation is for it. I'd suspect that it's just kind of what the U.S. has done. You know, you can't a lot of the time, like with me when I get in Coinbase, I can't. They limit how the money flows to it. You know, like whether when you buy instantly, they have to do a bunch of confirmations and stuff. I think it's a little more free than what China is, but I don't know. I don't necessarily know what their motivation is towards it. Basically, what I've just picked up out of it is that they haven't just outright said either that, oh, we're just completely putting it to a halt. You know, trading will still go on, but I mean, it's just something we have to keep an eye on because as it develops, it could end up being something that could shut them down. I mean, it could. Maybe this is just a first step. So it, you know, by them limiting it like this, it may be warning people like, hey, we're getting ready to completely cut you off. You better take your money out, or you're going to lose it. So or it's going to be really hard, and you're going to have to do something really illegal to get your money back.
Yeah. So I mean, and really, this is the purpose of this show. I was under the impression that the Chinese are just basically going to tell their citizens that you are not allowed to trade Bitcoin. So that's an incorrect assumption. Is that correct?
Right. As of right now, yeah, they're not just saying, oh, it's illegal to have Bitcoin or it's illegal to trade it. So they haven't said any of that. Otherwise, I mean, we wouldn't see Huobi trading right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't see the arse falling out of Huobi.
Yeah, we are seeing that.
Yeah.
Well, the big problem is when you stop the flow of money coming in, you effectively kill it. So
yeah.
Now I do think they're allowing vouchers and probably will continue to allow vouchers in the future. I know that's a program that they've pushed forward before. So what they might end up doing is just narrowing down that to the voucher program, which is incredibly heavily monitored by the China mainland government as an effort to stem the flow of money not only flowing out of the country, but as well as money laundering.
I have made the argument, if you will, and I'm a big fan of an analyst by the name of Dennis Gartman. And by all means, if you aren't on, if you're not actually specifically talking, I would appreciate it if you could just put your microphone on mute and maybe not screen share. I don't know whose screen we are looking at right at the moment.
It's probably mine.
We should probably just try and keep it on one. So I've made the argument historically that, you know, quite a long period of time, China was basically locked up, right? Well, we were going through the Cold War. You know, people were still, you know, going to work and, you know, saving all through the latter part of the 20th century. And I've heard the argument, and I like it. I'm a fan of one analyst by the name of Dennis Gartman, who writes the Gartman Letter. But you know, if you're interested in real professional, he was an old Chicago Board of Trade floor broker, and he's basically made the argument that if China at any point, if the Chinese citizens are actually given the opportunity we could see a serious outflow of capital from the country itself. And I've actually made the argument through sort of long-term chart analysis that you may actually see the floor on the US dollar itself develop on the catalyst that Chinese are actually able to get their money out of the country. So I find it really fascinating, and it's very telling, this whole idea of this vouchers, and how basically the government there sees just this, if I might even postulate, the tip of the iceberg with this Bitcoin, and how, if given the opportunity, there could be just a stunning amount of money that flows out of the country rather than into the country. And maybe what we're seeing with this whole idea of the vouchers and all that is that the Bank of China itself sees that as well. So that's something to consider in the mix. So comments on that from the group?
Well, I mean, you can't deny that too. I mean, you can just see on Huobi and OKCoin and stuff like that, their volume just dwarfs ours. So I mean, now whether it gets transferred to, if any of that wealth from Huobi or any of them gets transferred to us, I guess the only way to do that would have other people from other countries investing in Huobi and banking profits off Chinese citizens.
Well, there's two things on that, both on Brian and Adam's points. Well, one, hey Brian, I thought China was in a capital crunch right now, though. I mean, that they needed more money into the country than really out of the country. And to Adam, even though I'm a believer in Huobi's volume for the most part, I do know that the 0% trading exaggerates it a bit, and still a lot of people believe that their volume is fake, even though I think it's just basically exaggerated from the amount of capital that it appears to have trading through its system.
Okay, excellent points. All right, so, and you know what I would like to do is, and by all means, if you know, please take this the most politely way possible. If you're more of a non-participant, it might make sense for you to maybe just watch the YouTube video. Because I do have a number of people on the sidelines that would like to come into this Google Hangout and exchange ideas. So, you know, we're limited to 10 participants in the actual room itself. So, and that's full, and that's a great sign. It shows me that obviously there's lots of interest in this conversation. But just keep in mind, maybe for future episodes, that if you're just sort of just want to be a spectator and not actively participate, that maybe it might be better to go the YouTube route. So I'll just leave it at that. All right, so it's now 5:30, and I would like to keep on task. I'm going to now take a few minutes per our laid out plan here. I would like to take now from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. I'm going to do a short summary of just my thoughts of the charts and where I think price might be going over the near term. I'm going to take a look at the daily chart, then the 4-hour chart, and then the 15-minute chart. If there is time before 6:30, then we can do a little bit of Q&A. And then at 6:30, I would like to leave the stage open for Fibbr and let him do a nice analysis of the stamp. All right, so moving right along. Hopefully you guys saw that schedule. Did you guys just see the schedule? And keep in mind, I'm still quite new at this Google platform.
I'm just watching China just shit the bed, so...
Okay, watch your French here, mister.
Man, they are going crazy. China, stop! No, seriously, I just said in chat, we should ignore China now. They're stupid. Let them keep selling. You know, let them sell as cheap as they want. We'll stay at 400 plus. Okay? Sorry, Darren. We don't want to go sub 400. Stop!
380. That's all I want.
I have a buy-in as well at 380.
Yeah.
Good man. Good man.
Cool. I hope it bounces off 385.
Okay, well, if anything, that dovetails nicely. So I'm going to start with my presentation. If you guys can just maybe put yourselves on mute for a few minutes. And when I open the floor open to questions, feel free to chime in, okay? All right, so when I look at the Bitcoin, and I have reviewed this with others, been fortunate here on TradingView in that we have a very robust group with lots of participation. So I've had some very, very interesting conversations with people. I guess the thing that really jumps out to me, and I thought I had it on here, but I have so many charts, it's sometimes a bit overwhelming. Let's see if I can pull it up on my Twitter feed. I was looking at the little bit longer cycles. Here we are. This is the chart I'm looking for. And I was having an interesting conversation with a gentleman. And, you know, do we actually follow this exact route? I don't know. This was just purely postulation. But 3 days ago, I had a very good conversation with basically someone who is very bullish of Bitcoin from a fundamental perspective. And what we found really interesting when we looked at this chart is that, and this is very typical of stock markets, if we look back, you know, while you can't see it here too well, this original move, this last bull run, it was quite substantial on a percentage basis. You know, this is 10, 5, 15, and we zipped all the way to a high of 255. So a very, very powerful move. And so people at that point might have thought, well, okay, the bull market's over, that was fun. But indeed, and it was interesting too, because I had somebody who also took one of these tutorial sessions that I do, and he sent me this chart.
There are some things in life we take pride in.
And I know this is a bit of a commercial here, but this gentleman here, and
hello, this is James D'Angelo, and welcome to the Bitcoin 101 Blackboard series.
This is a very interesting study on geometric progressions. And by all means, I can, let's see if I can find a share link here. Here is the address, so by all means, if you have a moment, I would recommend that you take a look at this video, because basically it outlines how where are we here? This is actually a very normal geometric progression, and that these 6-month consolidations are actually very normal as well. And if we look at it from that perspective, there's that gentleman's video. So I would, if you have the opportunity, I would it's about a 5-10 minute video, very good summary of geometric progressions. And what we see here is that this Bitcoin is actually operating in a very normal geometric fashion. And this gentleman, that gentleman that I just made reference to, he actually makes the argument that these things usually hit their sort of vertical stage about 4 to 5 years into its life cycle. So with that notion in mind, we actually are still in the process of going vertical here. We haven't actually hit his geometric progression levels yet. So I can justifiably believe the argument that the Bitcoin bull rally isn't over. Couple that geometric progression idea with my basic notion that we are currently in a 17.5-year fear cycle, which basically means that money flows and asset flows are moving away from paper assets. This is the dot-com boom, the millennial peak, and this cycle, these cycles are very consistent. The last cycle turn before this was 1982, which was the end of the interest rate fear peak. And, you know, this is basically 17.5 years later, almost right on the nose. I would argue that this fear cycle will culminate in somewhere around Q3 2017. You know, it might be Q1 2018, it might be Q2 2017, it might drag on into 2019. But the long and short of it here is, you know, just as the dot-com boom was the end of that run, I would argue that the end of the move away from paper asset proxies will be sometime 2017, 2018. This is the US dollar index, and it basically is the world's paper asset proxy. So couple the idea that generally the market is moving away from paper assets towards hard assets, and with the idea that Bitcoin is actually following a very normal geometric progression, I actually look at this as a very normal correction within a bull market. If we look at specifically the short-term charts, well, just to finish this thought off, keep in mind that the consolidation phase is usually 2 to 3 times longer than the bull market phase. So the bull market windows, they don't last very long. And usually they actually start when the market is completely washed out and people have basically lost interest, right? You can see on this peak when they went up to 200, lots of volume, and then over the following 6-month period, basically the volume just trailed off, and you could actually tell when the next bull phase was going to start by the volume breakout. In essence, they say volumes speak volumes. So that's basically what I'm looking at. The same thing here, where we had our volume peak. These volume levels actually don't look quite right, but that's another conversation. We've had lower highs and lower lows on the volume itself, and really I don't see this ending until these volume bars here are taken out convincingly. And if any of you look at a volume chart right now, you'll see, let's see if we can do that. Yeah. So you can see lower highs, you know, same sort of thing, lower highs. We need to see a nice big chunky green bar that busts these highs right here for us to know that the next bull leg has started. And so that's what my note is here. If we look at the 6-month window, then basically that puts us somewhere in the middle of June. Now, the fascinating thing about that is that we have a typical stock market cliche that says sell in May and walk away. And so what typically happens through this May period is that we get sort of a rebalancing of our structure of our economy, in that everything that's sort of planned for the summer months, whether it be summer construction, whether it be summer driving season, all of those things are priced into the market heading into May. And then once May hits, all of that sort of anticipated activity for the summer has been priced in. Usually you get a little bit of a pullback. I would argue that through the end of June, beginning of July, that's usually when you get your seasonal turn. And so I find it quite coincidental that this 6-month window seems to be corresponding with that seasonal window too. All right, so now looking at the daily chart. This is a logarithmic scale. So the fibs may look a little bit wonky, but keep in mind that the fibs drawn on TradingView charts, they obey the same levels regardless of whether it's log or linear. What I take away from this, very simply put, is this was one heck of a bull run. It was a beautiful bull rally, right? But the issue here is that when a Bitcoin trades at $1,000, we have to ask ourselves, if I was a major institution, would I be chasing the market up and buying here? And the simple answer is no. In fact, historically, it's been proven that institutions actually sell when the market is rallying, and they wait for the pullbacks to actually do their buying. If you have followed any of my other seminars or tutorials, you know I'm a big fan of Michael Huddleston, and his ICT, the Inner Circle Trader. He's got a page on YouTube, and I'd highly encourage anybody who's interested in becoming a professional trader to invest in the time and watch all his videos. They're free, and you'll learn how institutions actually think in the marketplace. One of his main tenets is the concept of the optimal trade entry. And basically the optimal trade entry, or the OTE, which you've probably seen on many of my charts, is the 61.8 to 78.6 Fibonacci retracement of the original move. All right? The midpoint, or the 70.5 fib level, is what Michael calls the sweet spot. And basically it's the midpoint. It's right in between. Doesn't mean the market's going to stop right there. In fact, market doesn't have to turn on these levels at all. But generally speaking, if you understand the Fibonacci sequence and how stock and asset prices obey the Fibonacci sequence, if this is indeed a bull market, this sell-off, this correction, will find its base somewhere in this window. If we lose this 78.6, then you have to seriously question whether this is a bull market, and maybe we're just going to do V up and V right back down. That's totally possible. Nothing here, of course, is written in stone. But my general feeling is that, you watch the rally go all the way up to $1,000, and a patient, shrewd investor who's basically waited on the sidelines for prices to sort of come back down to earth, this is the area that they're watching and they're waiting for. So I find it very interesting how right now we're sitting at 4 1/4, down 2% right now, and we're talking about how Hobie is cranking lower, and how the Chinese are banning their citizens from owning the currencies and all those kind of fun things, and how they have to buy vouchers and stuff so that the central planning committees can basically keep tabs on their money. I find all of this fascinating in that all we're doing is we're just working back to where the institutions, if they did want to buy, this is where they're going to be buying. I find it also interesting, too, that this huge candle here, and this was on the 19th of November, so it'd be very interesting to see what the fundamental driver was here. But the low of this huge candle just so happens to be that 375 level, right? The low specifically was 375, right on the nose. So, put it all together, what I see is a very natural, healthy correction within a geometric progression. And unfortunately, this is really a question of patience. And, you know, we all want this big bull run, rah, 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 rah. But markets just can't do that every day. And if you think about the rubber band, right? I mean, here's the rubber band sitting here in these trading ranges, and then all of a sudden the rubber band gets stretched to just ridiculous lengths. And so all we're doing in this here is we're just letting the rubber band come back down into sort of more natural levels for it. All right, so that's the daily action. You see, I think that we're contained within this price channel. My most recent post, I basically said on the latest 4-hour analysis that I believed that all we were doing is we're just stuck within a massive channel. In fact, I just said, where is it? Here. For our BTC-E, basically at the midpoint of a downward pointing channel. So this is my most recent 4-hour write-up. And, you know, you can see the channel. It's as plain as day. You can see that we have this trend line right here that's sort of defining price action. We came down to it, chopped around it, and then we lost it. Then we came back to it, then we lost it again, then came back to it, went a bit above it. And then if we actually put on the most recent action, you can see when we failed back below this trend line, things really started to fall apart. And I actually even just posted on the chart that if we lost that trend line, we're probably going to go down and test these lows, and sure enough, that's exactly what we're doing. On this 4-hour, and let's just back up a second, I'm a really big fan of the momentum indicators, and one indicator in particular that I like is called the, it's been called the Willie 21, but basically it's an indicator that I developed to sort of give me an idea of when to avoid getting trapped into dangerous situations. So, you know, all through here, my Willie 21, the 13-period EMA, was what I would call, you know, the stupid overbought, or, you know, it's just overbought. And really, you know, this was a dumb area to be buying Bitcoins. I would like to see this indicator get into the oversold zone. It's not there yet. You can see how it's slowly trending lower, and I believe that if we do get down into that area, it'll represent a fantastic opportunity. Now, back to the 4-hour chart. Where are we here? Okay, so this was my most recent post. And I guess my general thoughts here, like I said, we're stuck in this massive channel. We might get 1 or 2 candles that actually go outside the channel, but my general feeling is that we're going to be trying contained within it. And then keeping in mind this, where is it? There it is. This 375 and the OTE level. It's interesting to see, where are we here? This 375 is basically right down in, well, I suppose at the moment it's right down in this area. Maybe do we lose the channel and then get back in? That's tough, too tough to say right now. But isn't it interesting how when we get out, this here is about a month or so away. This trend line and the channel line both intersect right at about 370 bucks. So, you know, even if the price just follows the natural channel, we're headed towards that 375 showdown. What would change my opinion? Frankly, we got to do a bit of cleaning up. You'll notice that on this panic low, we rallied back, then consolidated, put in a very nice little double bottom here, and then broke out higher. So at this point, I could argue that I can start thinking bullish. Now, the fascinating thing about that is the end result of this bullish move was nothing more than just to come back to the top of this channel. So, you know, the top of the channel right at the moment is sitting at $570. So it just goes to show that we're in an extremely wide trading range. Sadly, the bears are in control right now, and I certainly don't see that changing in the short term. But should we put in some bottoming action, recapture this trend line, I see no reason why at some point we won't go and test the top of that channel. It is interesting how previously I had a 4-hour bear ABCD target that I had been watching for quite some time. It got hit, and what's actually happened now is that I believe this is now turned into a resistance line. So we're probably going to find quite a bit of resistance if we get up into there, and gee whiz, what a coincidence. Maybe that happens right up in this 530 area, right back at the top of the channel. Zooming in on the 15-minute, and I've got about 10 minutes left, so I'm doing okay. All right, on a 15-minute basis, things were looking relatively optimistic yesterday, and I had posted a chart. Where is my 15-minute BTC-E? There it is. Where I had suggested that, you know, the market had actually almost gone had basically gone to sleep. Here's that initial burst lower, and you can see the massive volume spike. I had postulated that maybe this was a capitulation. Remember how we looked at that? Sorry, just burped there. We looked at the volume notion here on the day. Where's that? Here, and we said that if we see these lower highs and lower lows on volumes, or lower highs, that, you know, you can actually argue that this is a double top, triple top, right? It's topping out here, and these are often sort of your internal sign that whatever the bull was that pushed it up, that force is now dissipating. You could argue the exact opposite is true on the way down. So, where's that chart I was looking at? Is this it? Oh, good old trading view. Well, I would have made the argument, and the chart was on here just a moment ago. Here it is. We had a selling climax. Let's make sure that you guys can still see my screen. Good. We had a selling climax on heavy volume, and then the selling pressure actually dissipated, where lower highs and lower lows. And this is what led me to believe that this was a capitulation, and that event may have been over for the time being. While Willie didn't quite get stupid, he did get fairly oversold. Well, we're 7 minus 78, so pretty close. Nice double bottom here. Momentum on this move down was divergent. Momentum was basically moving up. And then we put in a double bottom within a double bottom. And we had a nice moving average crossover here. So put it all together, you had one heck of a buy signal right there. Sure, and that was what, at 450 area? And sure enough, the market moved its way higher. I believed, and erroneously it looks like now, that we had a nice sort of bullish pattern working here, where if we got a move on some half-decent momentum up through this 490 area, that we had a potential long, what I call a bot setup, which painted a target somewhere up in 526 area. Of course, that turned out to be erroneous, but what I find fascinating is, according to my bot rules, my rules say that I can, at the 50% of the anticipated target, I move my stop to break even, which in this case was 502, and I think the actual number was a little bit lower, because we did actually make a lower low here. Let's see if I can see that. All right. So the bull ABCDs we're painting here. My stop to break even, like I said, she got all the way up to 498.5 and then stalled. And what's really ugly about this stall is that we actually put in a nasty little double top, and of course if Willie was showing up here, we could show you that Willie broke down. Willie never did get stupid overbought, as we say. No, I'm so disappointed. I'm not quite sure why TradingView is having such a hard time, but the charts are a little bit tough today. So, coming out of that event, I'm now looking at a fail of this range. And so when we fail these ranges, odds are we're going to do an equal distance in the other direction. So this range, represented by this line right here, put in a nice big color so you can see it. There it is. If you project that off of the break of the lows, it actually paints a target of 391. So, from a short-term perspective, this is very natural occurrence, 200% extension off of the fail of the range, and at the moment, it looks like we're carving out a little bit of a pennant here. Whichever way this does decide to break will obviously dictate trade going forward. And you can make an argument that we might even have a bearish ABCD forming here, where your target based on these levels alone takes us down into here, which basically is going to go and test our 375 area. So, interesting times that we're in right at the moment. Short term, I believe that really what we're seeing here is nothing more than just a function of the central bank of China forcing and flooding the market with bitcoins, because basically they're saying that we're not going to allow you to put any new money into your accounts. And I'm sure there's quite a few people that were playing the Bitcoin market that basically said, I'm not going to take the chance in the government getting all upset at me. I'm just going to liquidate and close my account. Additionally, we have this 200,000 Bitcoins that have turned up out of nowhere from Gox, and then the 600,000. I heard another rumor about 600,000 turning up. So we probably have quite a bit of supply that's hitting the market right at the moment. Put it all together, and it makes it a pretty challenging situation in the short term. All right, so it's about 6 o'clock now. Fibbr, I just put you on mute just because I wanted to finish up here and just make sure that the presentation that I'm doing just finishes cleanly here. So
Okay.
At this point, do we have any questions about what I'm seeing, what I'm thinking on my charts? And if we don't, it looks like basically we're right on time, so that's good. Fibbr, you basically have the next half hour to present on Stamp. And, you know, by all means, if your analysis is completely opposite of mine, then that's, you know, that's what makes a horse race, right?
Okay, well, basically right now I'm gonna divert. No, I'm back, Robert. I'm gonna divert away from my scheduled Stamp because I'm sitting here. I've had to get some Weetabix because I need to comfort eat because I'm panicking like hell. Hubi, you know, the floor's dropped out of it. Stamp, risk reward, I'm still holding my 437 long. You know, come on, get back up. I'm just praying. I'm praying. Come on, Hubi, get up. Is it doing it? What does everybody else think? Darren, low pro, Adam, talk to me, guys.
Well,
tell me we're going up.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, go back on 15-minute Stamp, and you can just see, you know, from where it looked like it was going to, you know, to recover at least up to, like we were all talking about those 460 levels. You know, the
Yeah.
0.5 Fibonacci retracement. He's like, oh, okay, well, if it makes it to here, it's going to have a lot of resistance, but then there was no volume whatsoever, and it just started skipping across the pond per se
But I think
until it finally broke on Stamp and everywhere else. So, which tells me, I mean, this looks to be more of a continuation of what we had going on.
Yeah, because we were coming back on Stamp, and we got back up to 450, and then that guy just unloaded like 400 coins and knocked us right back down to retouch the low at 430. And I remember you were like, some idiot just sold 400 coins and retouched the low. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, what an idiot. I hope it rallies to hell now and you can buy back that loser, But I hope he hasn't got filled. I mean, he sold down 430, and we're only at 425. That's not going to be low enough for him. So bounce, bit Stamp.
But so far, it's not looking good. I mean, on the bullish side of things, though, I mean that order book is still thick. I mean, still thick, coming down, down towards 400. So it's. I think it's gonna take China waking up and Huobi waking up and some serious volume to snap that level, which might happen. Who knows?
I said this in the chat in TradingView. I said when Gox was going mental, Stamp got to the point where it just said, "Look, you guys are on your own here. See you later." And I just wonder if Stamp might do the same, because I mean that's 10,000 coins to offload 400. And I think if Huobi doesn't go completely and utterly bonkers, I just wonder, because people are still buying on Stamp, and I just wonder if Stamp might just say, you know what, see you later, Huobi. You keep going, son.
But you sound a little emotional there. You sound a little, hope, fear, greed.
Oh yeah.
Letting those emotions get at you, man.
Yeah, well that's it. Well, I mean, to be honest, like I said in chat, I said risk reward to sell for me now. I just don't feel it. I just think we've been selling like hell for bloody, I don't know, 12 hours now. I'm bored of selling. Let's just have a little bit of a decent bounce. And, come on. There's a justice in the world. And it's just come on, it's just not fair. And
well, that's one of the reasons why I like Brian's how do I put this? His Willie indicator. And make sure I preference that right, because usually the times, even before I saw his indicator, all the times that I was always looking to trade is when it just got really, really stupid, and stupid with volume. That is, and you can go back and look at the Gox crash when we went all the way down, and I was watching it second by second. I remember seeing there was like 250 coins on Stamp left, sitting at the 400 mark. I mean, it just had dumped like several thousand, and that was all that was left from holding it from just falling right off the cliff. And those 250 had held, and then the bullish volume just starts running in there, and that's the thing right now is none of that's happening. It's more similar to you go back to the Gox fiasco that started around mid-January, where it would drop and then rise and then drop and then rise and then drop and then rise, but it would stay in that channel all the way down until it met its inevitable end with the final ending of Gox that pushed it from that 620 level all the way down to 400, and here it looks like we're experiencing a similar scenario where we've had rise, fall, rise, fall, rise, fall, on a similar time frame, except actually this seems even more bearish than the Gox
does,
the Gox channel. Because they're not getting back up as easily. They're staying down this time.
It's more doomy, isn't it?
Exactly. So I don't think I'm not sure what has to break first. I'm not sure if the April 15th time frame has to break first, or China has to completely break off first.
No, I know what has to break.
Get down to 400 or past 400 and have this humongous rally back up. But this is not the end.
It is the very will and hope of all Bitcoiners that has to break. We just had, like Dan V. He said we haven't had that, that real deep-seated, man, this thing is in deep trouble, But the thing is, I just don't believe that, it doesn't matter how low it goes, I'll just rebuy,
Oh, and that's how a lot of people are. But I mean, you got to act. I think more like Brian was talking about as how the institutional investors see things. What was that? I don't know if it was one of the Rockefellers. I don't remember the exact guy who had the quote, but it was that to buy when there's blood in the streets, something along those lines.
Yeah, buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own. Yeah, I mean the blood's been in the streets now, but like you say, we haven't had that deep plunge of total panic, and then the hard bounce.
Fibbr's still buying.
Yeah, but I mean, like you say, when Gox happened, and on the other one when China crash happened on Gox, and that went from 1,000 in like 2 days to whatever it was, 400, 350, whatever the hell it was. I mean, when that was going on, the amount of sales coming out, I just couldn't believe there was even that many Bitcoins to sell. I mean, they probably weren't. It was probably just carpels trying to rig the price to buy them back or something. But but that was proper, China bans Bitcoin selling, and everybody was coming off the bubble. This is a lot more, systematic, methodical. I've just, and a lot of people are saying, what makes you think we're going to bubble again? That's loss of hope.
And you seem to notice that anytime we do, and maybe this is why the bulls have stopped being so bullish. It seems like every single time we kind of bounce, and get out of there, it seems like boom, China hits with another set of news that that just floors the price.
Well, that's it. I mean,
just to chime in here, I think we just need to keep in mind the higher time frames. When you focus in on these sort of 15-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour charts, this grind just basically wears away at your soul. And yet, if we look at the higher time frames, we have to appreciate that, just getting back to this daily chart, that the institutions want this level. Indeed, they would look at this market and say that until the $293.30 level, $293.30, until that level is lost in earnest, this is still a bull market. So, yeah, the market's job right now is to grind lower time frame participants into oblivion, and all we're doing is we're just bringing price back to where the institutions want the price.
Yeah, and that 5,000 Bitcoin buy at 400, that could just be somebody. I mean, what's that on the cost? 5,000. Don't ask me to do math. 5,000 times 400.
2 million.
I mean, that's 2 million. So there's a 2 million order sitting at 400, and it's probably nothing to somebody, isn't it? Just 5,000 coins. They probably bought it for like $50 or something. But yeah, that could be somebody getting filled up pretty nicely down there. But I just think if that does go, then I think, I mean, I'm not going to set at 430 now. For me to sell 430, you know, I need to rebuy at least 410, 415. That's a lot of coins away. And so I will probably say, you know, if I do a market sell in a panic fashion, it'll probably be at, you know, helping to smash the 400 wall. Like if it gets down to 400 and bears are just, you know, obliterating it, then you know what I mean. You want to help obliterate it as well, don't you? Because you either help obliterate it at 400, or you know you suffer slippage and end up selling kind of 480, 385, and then you're like quickly trying to get back in there 365. And you're like, man, that wasn't even worth it. I should have just held anyway, you know.
That could turn against you really quickly, though. I mean, you know, and you have to have a very large amount of volume to make that impact. But yeah, if that did break, then all the long positions just liquidate all at the same time. But if it holds, then well, there goes your position, right?
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is, yeah, and sometimes this has happened before. You think, right, everybody's smashing this wall. I'm going to join in. I'm going to smash the wall too. And then when it plunges after, I'll buy on the dip. And you help smash this wall, and then suddenly people start buying. And you're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Keep selling. You know. So yeah, it can go wrong.
Oh, I just did that.
But I just
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert here actually has been helping me out. In that he's posted a few things that people are talking about on YouTube. So if you don't mind, Fibbr, I thought maybe I'd just take the opportunity to address these. So question 1 here says, Yo Chu, what are we forecasting for a dump tonight? Price targets and key levels. So I think I've made my case of where I'm expecting price to go and some key levels. I suppose we could zoom in a little bit. I know this probably you know, brings a tear to your eye, Andre, and I'm sorry. You know, but you know, that's one reason why, in a weird sort of way, I kind of don't want to be trading this, because I can just give you my personally frank opinion of what I see. I guess what I'm looking at when I look at the price chart here is, you know, first and foremost, we broke down through this very well-defined range, and this breakdown, the corresponding fib, you know, these as a a day trader in crude oil, and you know, for anybody who's interested, I'd be more than happy to explain my models for trading crude. But basically, they use these fib numbers, and so these are very good key levels to be watching for going forward. You see how we basically tagged the 144 here, and 127's acting as support. You know, I suppose you could make an argument on a 5-minute chart that we're probably due for some sort of bounce. Having said that, when we, and I'm just getting rid of these indicators right now because TradingView is having problems. When we look at the fib extensions, I really like this 391. And then if we just follow the simple bear ABCD pattern, you know, this is a nice simple bear flag. It's projecting down into this, you know, 370 area. And then if we look back at our daily chart, you see that this 375 area is a key level for me. So those are the levels that I'm watching in particular to address that question. The second question that I saw here was, could someone ask him how Willy works, or if we can do a tutorial on it? So just specifically to answer that question, I run daily tutorial sessions right before these shows. These shows are supposed to air at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and usually at about 3 p.m. Pacific time, I advertise that my tutorial windows are open, and that I'm more than happy for anybody to come in. Here's, whoops, here, there we go. Nope, wrong again. Where is my calendar? For those that are interested in coming to a tutorial, here it is. Basically, these tutorials and shows run every day of the week. The only day they don't run is Thursdays, because that day belongs to my son. So you're more than welcome to go to this Google address and look at my schedule, and I'm going to post it right here, and feel free to come in, and I'd be more than happy to spend lots of time with you explaining how Willy works, how I created it, why I created it, and how I use it on a daily basis. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to answer those 2 questions. Fibbr, do you look at any higher time frames, or are you specifically concentrated on the lower time frames?
I do look at the, I like the 4 hour and I like the daily. They're the only ones I look at really, but mostly it's on the 15-minute and the 5-minute. And the reason why I look at those is because I'm absolutely addicted to Bitcoin, you know, and I like to do something every day. You know, I like to sell at a loss every day, and so that's what I do. Nah. But listen, if we're talking about time frames right now, this is what I'm looking at right now in particular. I don't know if anybody can see my screen. Can anybody see it all? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm looking at is I was looking originally for this super big move off this fib and get up to this 460 range, and there's this trend line that we're kind of bouncing off. You can see we're bouncing off it before here, and I thought we might have popped up to it. But you know, it's all got a bit weak. It's all got a bit bearish, and so sometimes you get a bit more, you know, accurate on if you move these down. And I even don't like that level because I even think that is a bit too optimistic. But I do like this one as a fib level, off this little high here. And this is, you know, because I'm a 5-minute kind of guy, I look for these kind of moves, and I like this level here. See, I can really see this kind of coming up, and we've been following this kind of purple line a bit on the way down as well. I could quite see that hitting this kind of mark here, which would be 442. And you know, you can see we were spiking like 444s before, so it's, you know, that's obviously a resistance point where we banged on 444 like quite a few times. You can see that we're banging up against it there. So 442, you know, I can definitely see because if you see the RSI, you know, there is this bullish divergence, and we have been selling for a long time, and so bear targets aside, you know, for interim 5-minute, I would like another shot up to this 442. I mean, I have got an ask waiting there, sure, so it might be biased, but that's what I like, you know.
I like that. That makes sense. And is that looks like that's right into the OTE zone there too, eh?
Oh yeah. I live for the OTE zone. You know?
Okay.
I'm a real OTE
And
zone
that's
man.
also, that would also be considered like where you had that line. That was sort of a battle line there too, eh?
Oh yeah, on that 444 one, yeah, it's pretty much in that zone. And like I say, it's been following this purple trend line. You know, we're following this for a long time as well before. You know, kind of you can see it bounced off it here, and you know, it's a line that goes back quite a long time, and you see we kind of like followed it on the way down. So it just depends on what Hoovy wants to do, and Hoovy is still looking. I don't know. I thought, to be honest, this looks a little bit. I'm on the 1 minute. You know, I thought this looks a little bit inverse head and shoulders right now, but I don't know about volume confirmation.
Well, it's good to see that we're starting to get some green bars. That's encouraging. And actually, you know, we were talking about this earlier. Look at your MACD indicator. What is the MACD indicator saying there?
Well, we've got a deeper low here, but not a deeper low on the histogram. So that's obviously the bullish divergence.
Right.
That's where it's played out.
Right. So, and where was that turn? right? The turn looks to be, and I'll pull up my chart too.
Probably about there.
And that's Hobie, and what is that? 1 minute you're looking at or something?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Right. So, again, we don't want to get too wrapped up in the short-term charts because, your view can get a little bit clouded. But that
215.
bullish, let's make sure we can see all the charts right. Is that all right, so the 1 minute here, just interesting trading chat here. You see the gap here? You see how this candle closed at 2482. Then the next candle opened up at 2490. So there's an old saying in the market that gaps like to be filled. And what's interesting is I bet if you did a fib off of this, other way. That gap is sitting right in our OTE zone. You see how that works? So that would be my target here in the short term. These, I hate to sound like a broken record. These silly OTEs, I mean, it's quite remarkable how they just keep showing up over and over and over and over. The fact that you have the gap there as well, to me, suggests that that's an area of specific interest. Is this all right? I'm a bull now. Forget about the bears. I think it's a bit early to get that, but you'll get another confirmation if Hobie here can take out this high, 25.49. So right now I still think market structure is negative. We're putting in double tops. We're making lower highs and lower lows. If I was going to have a target here, I definitely think this gap needs to be filled right into the OTE zone. Then we find out whether this low is for real. It's interesting to see how the real heavy volume was on this bar here, right? And the low itself actually saw very little volume. So looks to me like the sellers are getting a bit exhausted. And now we're just coiling down, quieting down, quieting down. I see that this bullish momentum divergence now is being broken. So the bears are back in control in the short term. And what you really like to see is some buying volume, right? We need to see these buying volume candles higher now. So let's get some buyers in there, and then you'll know it's for real. So interesting battle right here just on the 1 minute. So if I was trading this, I would be watching this high right here very closely at 25.15. We get up through there, and I guarantee you there's probably traders that would just trade this box. So they would buy at 25.16, and their stop would be 24.88. Not a bad risk reward, I suppose.
That's it. And with Hobie on 0 fees, you can do that. I mean,
well, especially liquidity, right? I mean, you can get in and out of this market pretty quick. Whereas, like that's the one thing I really do not like about this BTC-E is that the liquidity is just horrific.
Yeah, it is like that. And to be honest, even it's not even that much better on Stamp. I mean, if you want to just market sell an order, you can push it down almost like $6-7 at some point, and you're thinking, what the hell? And like today, I was going mental. Actually, yesterday, because it was sunk to a nice low, and I was like, right, I'm going to put in a limit buy here, and there was actually quite a few limit asks above it, but they were like $2-3 up, and I was like, no, I'm going to get filled. And I stuck this 65 BTC bid in, and everybody was like, oh my god, and just panic bought the hell out of it. And I was like, come on, guys, this is pathetic. And they took it up $15 in about 2 minutes. And I just left there, jaw open, catching flies, still waiting. But I did get filled up at the end. But going back, if you can flick to my chart for a minute, because
I'm watching your screen.
Yeah, because what happened yesterday, let me just switch this to 15 minutes, a little bit prettier. What happened yesterday, I know it's yesterday, it's old news, who cares, right? But you know, what I can't even chart it now. I don't even know what the hell's going on. But anyway, we had this bullish breakout, yeah, a few days ago. It took us up to this 509, and then we had this kind of consolidation period after this kind of range, and people were saying, "Oh, look at that!" Everybody's charting, "Oh, it's just going to flop down." And I was just sitting there, like I said, with this 494 target, and it hit it. And to be honest, when we got to here, we were consolidating at this 490, 494 range. We were consolidating here, and people were saying, "Look, if we don't go underneath 480, you know, we're gonna make a higher low here, and we could have another stab at 500." And the sentiment at the time, you know, not many people were selling, and the sentiment was very, very bullish at that point. You know, people were looking up a lot. You know, there's a lot of talk of up targets, and then
that's what you meant. You know, that chart that I posted, I was like, bull ABCD target, rah 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 rah.
yeah.
And then from what I understand, that little double top there that you
If you don't go underneath 480,
oops.
you know, we're gonna make a higher low here.
I'm just gonna put you on mute, okay? Let's see if I can find my chart, Andre. This is the same move here, right? Where I was totally jazzed and everything looks sweet, and then from what I understand, this is when China came out and said, well, with the latest thing about they're not accepting deposits or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it just totally caught the market off guard. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but your big, like, this was the ABCD target I picked up here, this one, which pretty much got it absolutely spot on. And like I said, it was.
I guess I was being optimistic, and I was saying.
No, I had that one too.
You know, could we realistic, because we kept putting in double bottoms, right? I mean, we were making higher highs and higher lows. So I sort of postulated that maybe, you know, and I can't see your levels completely, but the low before that really big spike there looks like it's, oh geez, I can't even read it. Anyway, I thought that the low that you drew your first blue line off of, I thought it was going to be do the same thing, and that would have taken us up quite a bit higher. But that's interesting how you just did that quick little ABCD, because that actually did complete, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I saw that and I thought, that's pretty good. You know, that's pretty good. Like, that held up pretty well, and we seem to have this kind of formation, you know, coming, which also looked a bit bullish at the time. Not many people were talking about that. A few people were. But then the other thing that happened was we kind of like triple topped here, and I thought, oh shit, you know, this is it. But to be honest, it held up again on another double bottom. And then what I realized was, look, we've actually made a higher low, and I thought, you know, market structure, it has held up there. And believe it or not, this one here was also, versus these, another higher low. And then when we made the higher high, you know, the sentiment was bullish, and yeah, there's a lot of talk of up. But this one little setback today, you know, on China, I mean, this is what happened. Somebody else said it. I think it was Landon was saying it. Every time the bulls just start to take, I mean, people, when this rally was going on yesterday, people were talking about the bottom was in, you know. But this is every time the bulls get a chance to buy it up and it starts making a move up, China bans Bitcoin again, and it just gets slammed down, and the bulls are left back holding. You know, there's a lot of pain, and you know, it gets ugly, doesn't it?
What's really interesting is, Jay Spare, and if you want to, I'll take you off mute now. Sorry to do that to you. I just heard some background music there, or some background noise. Julian, if you want to chime in here with your thoughts, you know, feel free. I don't know how to take your mute off now. Oh, okay. The point, I guess, that I would just make is, in my mind, just looking at this, we're going through the normal process of just breaking the bull's will, you know. And this, like these fake bottoms, and then the failed rallies. This is the hallmark of a bear market. We used to always say as a broker, in bull markets, everybody makes money. In bear markets, nobody makes money.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's going on here, right? Is that, people are just, they're wanting the bull to start again. They're just wanting the bull to start again. And you can see it out there, and this cascade lower, in my opinion, is classic hallmark of a bear market, just trying to break the bull's will.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, going back to what happened today was, like I said, I had this vision of 494, and because I was falling asleep, I thought, I don't want to fall asleep, sell at 494, and have it do another huge rocket ship, because I had some fib lines that was telling me 530. So I set some kind of sells up around here. Anyway, bounced at 494, and I woke up at exactly this point, and I just thought, my God, I need to just bank profit here, because I was in at this line here, and I thought I need to bank profit here. So I sold up here, and this is when it started to cascade. And probably within, I don't know, half an hour, people were kind of putting in some buying here, and I just thought, this is going to be absolutely brutal. And I just went out for the day, and I just came back at kind of like this range, and I just got in here, and I sold here, and I got back in like here again, and then and now we're down here, and I'm just still holding really. So that's my little life story.
And so on Stamp, do you find the liquidity is comfortable enough to get in and out of this thing at your leisure?
It's definitely a lot nicer. Like I can stick in I only limit order anyway, really, but it's definitely a lot easier to get filled. Like if I'm putting in an ask or something, it's not too much trouble really. So it's definitely a lot better than BTC-E.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're now at about 6:30. Basically, this is supposed to be a 2-hour show. According to our presentation material, make sure you can see that. Where are we here?
But yeah, looking at your chart there, Brian, it looks just like an absolutely picturesque, huge bear flag, doesn't it? Or pennant, rather.
This one?
Yeah. It just looks absolutely picture perfect, almost, doesn't it? It looks like something straight out of chart school.
Yeah, but they often say that when things look a little too good, they're often a trap. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a little FU move to get everybody thinking bear, 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 and then they rip it back up to your level.
Well,
right?
You know what? I was actually just talking to Wolf in TradingView chat, and we actually agree the same thing. We said, this could just be, they could just be hunting stops right now on Huobi.
Yeah.
Just dip it down $40-50 into a new low, let everybody just go crazy, and then just whip it back up.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing, right? Is that if you look at this thing from an institution's point of view, they're not even really going to be that interested in doing any shorting, like outright shorting. And I don't know why my fib's acting like this now. Let's see if we can get it to cooperate here. No, I guess not. I'm very disappointed with this TradingView platform. I'm not quite sure what's wrong with it tonight. But if you were an institution and you were thinking of shorting, really, you're not even interested in putting a trade on until we can get back up into this level, right? This is where the institutions want to short, right up in there. And what a coincidence! There's the 200 period moving average, so it's sitting right there, right?
Yeah, and also on
don't fool yourself into thinking that major players are going to step in and short this, because I just don't think they would here.
no, and also that exact level, if you look on my screen, not quite the OTE level, but you see this yellow trend line? Let me just make it a little bit wider.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that would almost coincide exactly with the 61.8 fib. Which it does like to bounce off a lot, that 61.8. Like you can see that the 94 was the 61.8. And so that that does make a lot of sense for that move to do. Like I say, there is a bullish divergence on the RSI as well. It's and also Hubi, we have had a green volume bar coming up. But to be honest, this little, I know it's 1 minute, but like I say, the Hubi to me on the 1 minute, it flows like water over a rock. It's absolutely beautiful. But I'll put it to 3 minute to make it a little bit clearer for you guys on the screen. But see, again, it just looks like what we've been doing the whole way down. Just another bearish pennant, bam.
Now here's something to consider on Hubi is that you notice that that volume gap that you have right there. Everyone forgets through that time frame. That's when China's asleep. I mean, that's like in the wee hours of the morning. And this is just some of the early trading going on. They don't really start getting ramped up until around lunchtime. And with that initial run up to here, let's see if I can pull up my deal here. There we go.
Screenshot. Let's have a look.
Yep.
Yeah.
With that initial run up to the 500 levels, I like how Brian was talking about how that's a good institutional short spot. And you notice how that even though that 500 level did get penetrated with one big shot up, which basically just one big buy. It never really, like the resistance was never really broken at that point. And then you had that range fighting in between. And I love how it coincided right up to that 500 level, right back into that short sweet spot. At the exact same time, you had all of that upper head resistance, and you had like you guys were saying, everyone's all so bullish. Like, oh, okay, here we go. This is it. This is where we're going to break 500 and go up to 530. Well, at the same time, you have a lot of long positions when you have all that hoopla taking place, and then boom, perfectly coinciding with that was the new China news that had broken out, where it tanked the price and it fell back down and then tanked it some more. And that's I actually woke up this morning to that and got in, and it was around 463, and it looked like it leveled off. And I took a look at the news and then realized what happened with that topping and that breaking, that failure to break just the simple 500 level. I mean, that says something right there. And then that's when I decided to short everything at the 460 level and just play that thing on down. But yeah,
Good
I mean.
For you, then, so you shorted again?
Oh, what? Yeah, actually, I'm in a horrible short position right now. I did well with a whole bunch of trades all the way down, and I should have shorted this, but I mean, like I was even getting bullish. I was talking to Fibbr, and I was like, oh man, look at that divergence. I mean, it's how much more can the bulls take here before they start buying? But then it's just still. It's just being battered on and on and on. And the thing to really, I think, watch out for on Hubi is, I mean, they're just waking up, they're getting their coffee started, and we're in more of this level right here.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is yesterday when they were asleep, and that's usually what you have. Ironically, it's a habit for Huobi, similar to the opening and closing of the normal stock market. Is what you have. You have these major pushes. I was actually telling Fibbr this is the exact reason why I never trade at these time frames, because you have these wild movements in any particular direction at basically the opening bell for China, and then of course we're
Mr.
coming
ICT, you would call those the kill zones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and what's interesting is, it's funny that you say you don't like them. And as a crude trader, I am acutely aware of them, and those are our best trade setups. So we actually are in those kill zones. That's where when we want to put on a trade. So maybe even turn the equation around, Landon, over the next little while, and look to see where either OTE short levels are, how your support and resistance are acting into those zones, and see whether that doesn't set up a trade for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've watched out for that, but at the same time, I've had it happen many times where basically the Huobi opening bell rang, and we rolled in, and it broke what was expected through TA or through the current trend, and then basically. Continuing on through the next few hours, then might have reverted back to what it was supposed to be around lunchtime for them. I don't know why that's so important, but that was just the observation.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention that.
Well,
it's
Landon,
risky.
yeah, listen. Talking about the Huobi and timings of the day, and look, if you can see this, if you can see my screen for a second, is it working? Is it on share? Is it?
Yep.
Okay, see, look, what happens is every time when they go to sleep, like say, I'll put the crosshair on it, when they go to sleep here, look, gradually it just drops while they go to sleep. And then you can see here on the volume, these kind of the early risers, they seem to be a bit bearish, like they're all selling it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the volume comes in and they take it off. And then the same thing happened on this one. We just kind of on this just ever so slight bearish. Look, the first risers, see it on volume there. They're just selling it off a bit, and then a little bit of a rally, and then more sell off, and then the volume really kicks in. They take it off, and yesterday was all about the sell off, and yeah, sure, we've got quite a bit of volume here coming on, but I just wonder if like they can get this to take off, because the thing is, it's really, the news, because like this guy, he said, the price, it doesn't move because of lines on a chart. Really the price moves for a fundamental reason, and it's true. It's like when you look at the November bull run, why was the price rocketing through the moon? Well, it's because China was buying like hell. It's because everybody else was buying like hell. It's because it was going up and everybody wanted to get rich, so everybody's buying it up, and that was the fundamental reason. China's going mental, and now why is it going down? China's banned Bitcoin. News again. That's a fundamental reason for a drastic change in price, and so these little movements.
Just this saying goes, technical analysis works best in the absence of new fundamental drivers.
Yeah, well, that's perfect, isn't it? Absolutely perfect. And it does. Like, TA is absolutely brilliant. But when you've got something like China bans Bitcoin, just wipe your chart clean and just sell.
Well, that's one of the reasons why
we got to let the dust settle. Is what as good technicians, you really should just let the dust settle here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. What are you going to say, Landon?
Oh, I was saying that's one of the reasons why, even though the 460 range seemed so low from where it had dropped. That's the reason I decided to short that right there, because I was tying in both fundamental, logical TA and the news all together. And of course, at that point, it looked okay. Well, this seems like it would be a stronger suit, but then you add the factors of all of the long positions that are trailing down, and then you add the fact that previously we'd had several crashes in a row that had such strong volume, and you all had all that fear taking place, and right then I knew, I was like, okay, this isn't over. We've the combination of news and leverage positions and coming off from a attempt to break a resistance line and crashing multiple times prior. Oh gosh, that's just like a perfect storm scenario.
And it's the same in the upticks as well. It's like when you've got all those bulls that are just buying loads and loads of coins up at the top and not going anywhere. When it turns and they need to just cut loose, it's going to be a big cut loose, isn't it? And it's the same when it goes down, because say people are just selling it, really battering through the bids to get it to go down, and the ask book is like really thin to get back up. When it starts going back up and people want to get back in and stuff, it's like musical chairs, isn't it? There's only so many seats and everybody's got to try and on, you know what I mean? And it just takes off, doesn't it? And that's why, when you get those big kind of like $50, $60, $100 moves up, that's because there's just so many people that are sitting there waiting, and when it does, they all just pile in. There's not enough chairs for them to get on, and it just takes off, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's why I always wait for. You always see, and this is one thing I wish more people would study, is the lost art of just reading the ticker, just seeing the prices move in, watching the volume, watching the order book, just over and over and over and over. And what you'll notice is you always have a calm before the storm in any directional movement.
Absolutely.
And if it's incredibly down and you have that calm before the storm, boom, that's when you buy before anybody else.
Yeah,
and you just wait 5 minutes and everybody else realizes the same thing, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, definitely. And you can feel it in the air as well, can't you? You know when it's going to take off.
Management.
But like when it was going to take off yesterday, and I was telling you guys, I was like, look at this bullish divergence, guys. You could just feel it in the air, couldn't you? Like, brewing like a monster, just waiting to just explode. But yeah, I mean, the bearish case for that is when people are just buying, and people are just keep buying and buying, and the price is like almost flatlining. And they've been buying so long, so hard, so exuberantly that Willy 1 hour has just gone completely stupid. The price is completely flatlining, not going up anymore, and that's brilliant then, Get out. Because when it does go ugly, it's going to go real ugly.
That's some interesting price action here on your chart. Are you guys seeing this?
Yeah, nice buy. I mean, to me, it looks a bit like a what the hell is the terminology for it? When you've got like a flat top and higher lows.
Ascending triangle.
Ascending triangle. That's it. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it looks a bit like that right now, doesn't it?
Well, and the volume's the key here, right? You want to take out that recent red bar high, and what we want to see is a nice trend of higher green bars on the volume. So and you say that they're waking up, so maybe they're waking up and going, you know what, this is looking a bit attractive here. So you could do a nice little ABCD off of that, eh? What are you looking at here? You're looking at Hobie on a 1 minute.
Hobie in 1 minute, yeah.
You're gonna drive yourself mental doing this. Okay, where are we?
Right? But I honestly, I love like if you look at Bitstamp or BTC on the 1 minute, there's so little volume. It's so jagged. It's
Yeah.
just it's horrible. But you look at Huobi, because there's so much volume, it's so fluid. It's like it's absolutely beautiful. I swear to God, I would love to be trading on Huobi. I mean, what do you think, Landon? Do you like Huobi?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you guys all know how much I like to scalp rates, and I mean, we're better than a 0% commission with
Yeah.
high liquidity. Oh my gosh, like Huobi would be my playground.
I know. If
I
Huobi
would quit my job if if I trusted my money in Huobi.
Yeah,
There's the $64,000 question, eh?
But Huobi have been talking about adding a US dollar.
Come on, baby. See, no, you guys should be, you jockeys should be on your horse going, come on, come on.
I am.
You guys remember that Seinfeld episode when Kramer was in the betting? What was it? It was you can place horse bets in these what do they call those things?
I never watched it.
Seinfeld? Am I dating myself again? That was a great episode. What I would love to be able to do, and I'm going to sort of want to learn to do this, is get like little video clips and voiceovers and stuff we can inject into these shows, because we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Let's see. I'm going to try and find it.
Ascend will do that.
Try and find it. Hold on.
Ascend will do that. He'll come in with the soundboard. But yeah, I mean, going back to this Huobi 1 minute, if this, I mean, Huobi, they said they're going to add a US dollar exchange as well, US dollar account. If they do add a US dollar account and a translation on it, bam, I'm over there. 0% fees, straight over there.
Well, they've said that, but I'm actually just a little bit hoping that that they end up getting washed out by China, and make some sort of institutional move over to Hong Kong, where they would be safe and protected, and then I might take a look at adding.
Look at this. Huobi's just making a new move, and what's Bitstamp doing? Oh, they're gonna sell it down and make a new low. Look, Bitstamp have sold it down and make a new low, just as Huobi's kind of like picking up a bit of strength here. Come on, Stamp. Come on, pull yourself together,
Well, there's still relatively low volume for Huobi in considering its normal trading volume. So it's Stamp still has the floor.
Yeah, if Huobi do smell this going up.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. You got to watch this. Can you hear it? Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
No, but I get the
just a Huobi chat.
Is that it?
Yeah, Jasper and the 49er said, we'll do this.
There we go.
He said, yeah. Yeah, but it's not smooth. He said, this is amazing to finally be talking to others that have the same interest about trading. Most people are clueless about any kind of market. Yeah, that's true. Robert Wells said, I'm going to jump off getting exhausted. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm just going to mute you, Brian.
Sorry, Brian. No, but I actually get what he's got going on with the horse race. it's just choppy mostly, but no, that example right there is exactly what we're supposed to be avoiding as traders.
Yeah.
The horse race bet, the excitement, the emotion.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess the way I look at it is you got your trading plan, right? So, as long as you stick to your trading plan, and you take the setups, I don't see any reason in not getting excited about the trade.
I agree. I agree. The only person that wouldn't get excited is like some kind of cold, calculating, sociopath murderer. I mean, is that you, Landon?
Thanks, man. Thanks. Hey, I'm in profit, man.
Believe me, I know. It's all I hear about all day in the chat.
You got to be cold and calculating, brother.
Yeah.
Just
that's right.
the point that I was just trying to make, right, is you're a little bit ahead of the curve here, right, betting on the bull, right? So you're going to need a little bit of help. And so that's why I was looking at that video clip, right? It's like, and sure enough, look what happened, right? If you look at my screen, that rally failed miserably, right? So that was the point that I was making. And the fact that Andre muted me meant the rally was muted.
That's what you get, man.
Yeah, I know. I was rooting for you guys.
But I mean, I've this is what happens, right? So it's like it's coming up to my bedtime, and I'm thinking, now what am I gonna do? And I mean, last night I didn't go to bed till 6 in the morning, and it's because this is a stupid 24/7 market that never stops. I mean, every other trader in the world gets like the weekend off at least, and Bitcoin. I mean, so like say I'm going to go to bed soon. What am I going to do? Am I going to sleep with my 247 long in coin, or am I going to bank out at a loss in fiat and sit there and you know what I mean? It's like Huobi volume is going to be picking up in like 3-4 hours. Really hot. You know what I mean? I just like, what do I do? What do you guys think?
If anything, I think why don't we finish this show, because basically we are now at our 2-hour mark, and everybody that's here that would like to give Andre his 2 cents as to what you think he should do, let's hear what you have to say, and at the end of it we'll end the show. And what will be really interesting is we'll start next week's show off with a review of what we suggested he do and what actually happened.
Go for it. What do you think I should do then, guys? Coin or fiat?
You know my opinion on this. You're on Stamp. You can only buy or sell. And we're in a bear market, and so it's of course going to be hard to sleep. Like you said the other day, or maybe it was today, you could sleep really, really well back when Bitcoin was in a bull market, but now you can't sleep. And there's a good quote by Jesse Livermore on it. It's, if you can't sleep at night because your stock market position, then you've gone too far. And in this case, then sell your position down to a sleeping level.
Yeah.
That's
I like that quote.
Adam, you with us? Is Adam out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. What's your thoughts, Adam?
On Fibbr stuff, I don't know. Just keep.
All right. Well, that's fine. You don't have.
I don't really know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I just tell
Darren,
he's done well so far, so keep doing what he's doing. But he's been losing.
No. What I guess I was hoping for is, Andre threw the question out to the group. What do you guys think I should do? And so I thought, we're running into the end of our show time, and I think this would be a perfect end. So I just want everybody to just sort of say, you know what, I think you should dump it and just go to sleep. Or, no, but I like the long here. Ride it out. So that's what I was thinking. Or you could have the opinion, you know what, I just don't know. I don't have an opinion. And
I'd say I'm hoping for a small bounce here, and then we're gonna hit 380. But play that bounce or not.
Well, and so I guess he's talking about Huobi here, but anyway. All right, thanks, Adam. That's cool. We'll review next week, see how it turned out. Let's see what else we have. And Darren, what do you think?
You want to hear my 2 cents very quickly? I don't want to take it too much more. I'll share my screen if that's okay.
Sure.
Is that? All right. My 2 cents is zoom out. You know, zoom out. I see people always trading on the 1-minute chart, 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, and I see them in the chat all the time. Oh, I just sold at $2 less than I just bought back, and or $2 more than I just bought back, and stuff like that. And I don't know. It just seems like a random mess to me. Like the 3-day chart. I'll get rid of the fibs. There's the 3-day chart on Bitcoin Wisdom for BTC-E. And I'm just trading off this, man, and yeah, look, I mean, I put my fibs in. Here I am. I've actually put my fibs in at the top, down to the low on all these 3 these 3 peaks down. Screen's freezing a little bit. Okay, look.
Well, you need to share your screen. Share your screen.
If you were trading on this chart.
Okay, yeah.
I'm doing it, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
So if you were trading off this chart, okay. If you were trading off this chart, you're using these moving averages and everything, you would have probably gotten out here if you were good. If you were an amateur like me, you'd probably get out about here after this big red candle. Mm-hmm. And that's what? That's the 608, that's the $700 mark, basically, okay? And using this chart, you would never have gotten back in. Never. Even all the way up until this moment now. And the reason that I do this now is because I was watching a tutorial on fib lines when they were on YouTube. And the guy pointed out, he says, look, swings, because that's big money and those are big numbers.
Darren?
So
can you hear me, Darren?
Rather than trading, you know, stuff like this. So let me go down to the 12-hour chart.
Darren, I think you just...
Hello?
You have to slow down.
Yeah, I'm here still.
You're talking very, very fast.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of signal.
Oh, sorry. I'm going too fast. Sorry. So yeah, so this is my 12-hour chart, look, and I'm waiting for the 386. I just call it the 380 because I want to overshoot it. But most of you know that I'm waiting for like the 380 basically. Mm-hmm. But the reason I got to that.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
That was a classic cliffhanger.
I actually put it, on the trading on the large scale. to sum up it, the answer is being fiat. Being fiat, yeah. No, because we've been. If you look on that bigger.
Shall I mute him?
I can't do this. My mess.
It's okay, Darren.
I mean, look, if you'd have been trading on the big chart, you'd have been out since February.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I was cocking up.
Alright.
So yeah, that's it. Basically. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, Darren, if you can look at me, I'll tell you what I think about that. Because I think that's absolutely terrible. And I'll tell you why. Wait, there's feedback coming back on your mic, Darren.
You kidding?
Somebody's got their mic, I guess. I don't know.
Darren.
Really?
Okay.
It's Darren.
Can you go on mute for a second, please?
Okay. Right, Darren.
Can you go on mute for a second, please?
I muted him. He's unmuted himself.
I've done it.
Okay. Yeah, Darren, I tell you why I don't like that. Because you're talking about a 3-day chart on the crossover. If you talk about a 3-day chart on the crossover, look at this, right? The EMAs, yeah, these are lagging indicators, right? And so say you bought in at the bottom, you're not going to sell 1,200. You're not even going to get back in here. Yeah.
The purpose of this, keep in mind, we're now over 2 hours. I totally appreciate that you want to rebut his comment. But all I wanted to do was just leave with just a simple, what do you guys think? Does that make
Who's
sense?
got that? Yeah, who's got that timer playing?
I know you want to debate it, and what I would suggest is you two, you're more than welcome to go into a Google Hangout and debate it, or even save it for next week, right? But we've hit the 2 hours.
Okay.
If it's one thing I really have to do is I gotta respect the time clock.
Okay. Listen, then let's have a quick review. Jasprang49, he said fiat. Landon said fiat. Adam said he doesn't know. Darren said fiat, basically, to get for the lower target.
Right. So everybody's bearish. Now,
yeah,
what would be really interesting is, let's see, next Wednesday, what I think we should do is take the first 15 minutes and review what happened.
I agree.
Isn't that a good idea?
I agree. So, Brian, what's your take? Fiat or sleeping coin tonight?
I think, well, it all depends on how much risk I could take.
I can take a lot of risk. I'm really happy to bag hold, on this.
And are we buying Huobi, BTC-E, or Bitstamp?
Stamp.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So my opinion is you should not be long. So fiat.
Okay. Everybody's fiat. All right. Well, I'm contrarian, so I'm going to sleep in coin. Haha.
Okay. Well, you know what? You know what they say? That's what makes a horse race, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to
close this off, Brian.
Andre, thank you very, very much for your participation. And thank you to the panel. You guys were really great contributors, and I really enjoyed this experience. Andre and Darren, if you wouldn't mind just going on mute, and I'll just wind this up. Thanks, guys. So you've basically been watching the Fibbr and Cry, or Cry and Fibbr cryptocurrency show on YouTube. We've been on now for 2 hours. This is actually our second show. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. I know I've really enjoyed myself, and next week hopefully I'll have a little better sound effects and video effects for everybody. This show is, of course, on YouTube, so feel free to either tell associates about it or watch it again at your leisure. Myself, I am the Canadian Rational Investor. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about how I approach the market, feel free to visit my website, therationalinvestor.ca. I am Canadian A. I run a number of different shows on YouTube here, and you can at any point see what my schedule is by moving through my Twitter feed and finding the most recent calendar posting. So basically, this is Wednesday, supposed to be the cryptocurrency show, and I think we did a pretty good job at looking at what the fundamental drivers are for the cryptocurrency world, as well as looking at technical view, the view that I have at the moment. You can find those updated charts on TradingView, or again looking at my Twitter feed. And I thought we got a very good perspective from an actual trader, Fibbr, who is actively trading a portfolio of assets. So he is putting his money where his mouth is, which is very different than most people in the world who just sort of talk the talk. He is actually walking the walk. We plan to have this show on a regular basis every Wednesday night for a couple hours. So if you enjoyed the show tonight, then I would highly encourage you to come back weekly, and we can make this a regular part of everybody's lives. So thank you again for your time. All the best to you and your families. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at your leisure, or come to one of my tutorials that you can find out on my Twitter feed. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing how this trade played out and holding Fibbr's feet to the fire here. Have a good night, all. Have a great week. All the best, and God bless.